going on, everybody? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, us Vikings fans, we got some great news around the NFL draft as it's looking like the Vikes will get just that one extra pick in this year's upcoming NFL draft. And also Mel Kiper, speaking of the draft, he dropped his first mock, so we'll tell you guys who he had the Vikings selecting at pick number 24. But let me know this answer to this question. When I was thinking about my Vikings fandom, and I love hearing different answers to this, which Vikings player made you fall in love with the Minnesota Vikings? For me, I'm 25 years old, so the guy I grew up watching, made me fall in love with this football team, was Adrian Peterson. Just watching him run the football every single Sunday, I mean, it was a ton of fun. But you guys let me know, which Vikings player made you fall in love with this Vikings team? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. All right, great news for the Vikes. We are getting another comp pick for Kirk Cousins and Danielle Hunter leaving in free agency. Now, the Vikings are actually in play to get another comp pick for Danielle here, but they ended up signing Shaquill Griffin, so it took them out of that equation. But here are the comp picks for this upcoming year just in the first 5 rounds. The Vikings will be getting one in the 3rd round, the only team besides the Miami Dolphins when Robert Hunt left for the Carolina Panthers. But here are all the comp picks. The Niners are getting 2 of them. The Cowboys are getting 2 fifths. But big up here, Vikings get a 3rd round pick. And, you know, when I saw the comp pick come out, immediately what I thought about was GM Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and, you know, the stones that he had to just let Kirk Cousins and Danielle Hunter walk in free agency. Because if you go back this time last season, it was a huge topic of conversation. Like, should the Vikings pay Kirk Cousins? Should they try to bring him back? You know, 36-year-old quarterback coming off a torn Achilles. How much would he have left in the tank? And a lot of fans were pretty much split on this, but I would almost say majority wanted Kirk Cousins back because we were winning games when he was the starting quarterback. But this past season, I mean, just comparing the guy the Vikings brought in on a 1-year, $10 million contract compared to Kirk Cousins, who signed a 4-year, $180 million deal with $100 million guaranteed, Sam Darnold was a way better quarterback. Now, I don't also think that, Sam Darnold had a way better support system. Yes, I think he had a better support system, but it's not like Kirk was playing with a bunch of nobodies. Like, he had Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Bijan Robinson. Like, he had a lot of playmakers in that offense. So you got to give credit to Kwesi, just saying, hey, we're going to rock out with this bridge quarterback, get the most out of him, and it was 110% the right decision. I understand we criticize Kwesi for his drafts. They have not been good by any means, but he has been a very smart mind in free agency, and I think that was a great move. But another great move, in my opinion, was just letting Danielle Hunter walk, and then you go pick up Jonathan Grenard. I mean, we can pretty much call this a trade between the Vikings and the Texans this past free agency, and the numbers are eerily similar here. I mean, Grenard's got the edge in tackles total for the season, but they got the same amount of sacks, 1 more TFL for Grenard, 3 more forced fumbles, same amount of PBUs, batting balls down at the line of scrimmage. But, you know, the biggest difference between Grenard and Danielle Hunter here, Grenard's just younger. He's 26, turning 27. Danielle was pushing 30 at the time last season, but still, the only blue chipper the Vikings had defensively last season was Danielle Hunter. And Kwesi said, you know what? We're going to go bring in a younger guy, get the same production out of him. It was just another great move. So where does that leave the Vikings 2025 draft capital? We're up to 4 picks now. We were sitting at a lowly 3 picks, but hey, we got our first rounder, pick number 24, and now we're going to slot in to have another top 100 pick in round 3. Then we also got our own 5th, and then we actually do have a 5th rounder from that Zadarius Smith trade a couple years ago to the Cleveland Browns. But the one thing I will say with the limited amount of draft capital here, if the Vikings, if they're not in love with the prospect at pick number 24, I could very well see them wanting to trade back, whether that's for 2 seconds or a second and a third. Just be very aware that that could be a huge possibility for the Vikings. Let's just say if Gentry's off the board, or a guy like Benjamin Morrison, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, if he's off the board and they don't love any of the prospects, they could easily trade back. But my ideal offseason, let's just go here. You sign offensive lineman in free agency. You got Trey Smith. You got Drew Dahlman. Now, a lot of fans around the NFL, they're all clamoring over Trey Smith. They really want him, but I guarantee you the Vikings will throw him a sizable contract. It just depends if he wants to come here. But ideally for me, you hit offensive line hard in free agency. Then you draft a corner in round 1, and we'll talk about a corner here in a second. Then you target a running back in round 3, very deep running back class this season. Cam Skattebo, I'm hearing that in my ear. Maybe that's a sign from the man up top. I don't know. But, hey, I would love Cam Skattebo, at round 3. And then you just go depth in with your 2 picks in round 5. But speaking about this offseason, speaking about Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, how much do you trust Cam as our GM for the Minnesota Vikings? Scale it for me, 1 to 10 down below in the comment section. Right now, put myself on the spot here. I'd probably go 7.5. I trust him in free agency to make the right moves. It just comes down to drafting for him because besides Jordan Addison, you don't really have an impact player over the last 3 drafts. So if he shores that up, I'll probably give this a 9, 9.5. But as it stands right now, I'll go 7.5. Now we'll talk about Mel Kiper's mock draft here in a second. But first, I got to give a massive shout out to today's sponsor, and that is Game Time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Now, Game Time has an awesome new feature called Game Time Picks. It makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. Now, if you guys want to go to a Timberwolves game, a Wild game over the next couple of weeks, and you guys want to hook yourself up with $20 off, Game Time is the best way to do so. A ton of good teams coming to Minnesota over the next couple of weeks, so take advantage. Get yourself a free beer at the game by plugging in that promo code CHATSPORTS on your first purchase. They'll hook you guys up with $20 off. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, let's dive into it. This guy right here, Mel Kiper, dropped his first mock draft this week, and he had a very, very interesting selection for the Vikings at pick number 24. But let's see what the the 5 picks before the Vikings were. It was Nick Emenwari, safety, went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they did have Ashton Genty going to the Denver Broncos at pick 20. Emeka Egbuka, Ohio State wide receiver, going to the Pittsburgh Steelers at pick number 21. And then if I had to guarantee one pick out of any mock draft that is out there, you can lock this in. If Colston Loveland or Kenneth Grant, the defensive tackle from Michigan, I will promise you Jim Harbaugh will try to get his Michigan tight end, Colston Loveland. You can lock that in. But then they had the Packers at pick number 23, selecting the edge rusher out of Marshall, Mike Green. So where does that leave the Minnesota Vikings? Well, the Vikings at pick number 24, according to Mel Kiper, will draft Notre Dame quarterback Benjamin Morrison. I love this guy. I'm a huge fan of this pick. I am hoping he falls to pick number 24, especially if the Vikings are able to hit offensive line in free agency. This would be ideal to land Benjamin Morrison at pick number 24. But let's see what Mel Kiper had to say. All 3 starters, Stephon Gilmore, Shaquill Griffin, and slot guy Byron Murphy Jr. are free agents, along with backup Fabian Moreau. So even though the Vikings led the NFL in interceptions by quite a bit, 24, 5 more than second best, they might have to restock their cornerback room in the draft. Morrison missed all but 6 games in 2024 with a hip injury, but he's a top-tier cover man. He has sound technique, and he has the ball skills to keep Minnesota's INT total high. Morrison had 9 picks and 21 pass breakups over his career. I love this pick. And also, if Harrison Smith does retire, I would love to replace him in the secondary with another golden domer being Benjamin Morrison. But what I see on this guy, just watching the tape over the last year for him, very physical corner. He, I think he offers more versatility than people would think. You can put him in the slot, you can put him outside. I could even see him lining up, as a box safety in certain spots. But here is how his slot alignments by snaps over this past season. He actually had 4 at defensive line, very versatile guy, but 22 at slot corner, 272 at just the pure outside cornerback position, then box in 15 snaps, and then deep half safety. He was only in there for 1 of them. But, Benjamin Morrison, if the Vikings do re-sign Byron Murphy, ideally you would hope so, maybe at around $17, $18 million a year. You re-sign, Byron Murphy. You have Mekhi Blackman coming back from that torn ACL. Then if you throw in Benjamin Morrison with also a guy like Dwight McGlothern sitting in the reins there, that's a solid 4-man cornerback group that you can build off of heading into the next season. And also with Brian Flores most likely coming back as the defensive coordinator, getting these versatile corners who love to play in the run game. Great scheme fit. So if this is the pick for the Vikings, I think it's a home run pick, one of my top draft targets. But, hey, I would love for the Vikes to draft Benjamin Morrison. But you guys let me know. Name a player the Vikings need to draft, whether that's Ashton Genty, Caleb Johnson, Benjamin Morrison, Tyler Booker, any of these guys. You guys let me know. Name a player the Vikings need to draft. Excuse me. If you guys also want to hit me up on Twitter, that's a handle right there, at Pat Sieps. Give me a follow over there. I'll give you guys a follow right back. But thank you guys so much for watching today's show. See you guys next time. Skol Vikes.